This is AV SuperFriends Off the Rails, an almost regularly scheduled open discussion on audio and video in higher education. We'll sound off about our most brilliant ideas, our dumbest mistakes, and everything in between. And because this conversation will almost certainly go off the rails at some point, we'll end up covering just about everything else. And now, the AV SuperFriends. For May 24th, 2024, it's the best-sounding podcast in higher ed. This is the AV SuperFriends Off the Rails. Good Lord, this has been a slog. Broadcasting live to tape from coast to coast, easternmost and westernmost, northernmost to southernmost, gate post to hitching post. I'm your local host who can boast the most milquetoast and utmost humility. I'm Chris Decker. It's time for another Friday afternoon podcast adventure. Holy crap, it's taken us so long to get this far.
What?
It's like a 2-hour show.
You guys don't even know. We've been at this for like half a day now.
My head hurts.
Just do it live. All right.
That's what we decided. We're just going to go live for you guys right now.
So let's say hello to today's panel of AV Superfriends. Today, I'm joined by a regional research executive from Corvallis, Oregon, Mark Kolowazinski.
I'm going to have to look into that, but signs are looking good.
Regional signs.
Around here.
Also joined by a dynamic communications administrator from Greensboro, North Carolina, Larry Darling.
Tried to come up with something creative. I have no idea what that even means.
That's not very dynamic either.
It's very resourceful.
Also joined by an international paradigm vice president from Bowling Green, Kentucky, Justin Rexing.
We talked about this. I don't like to travel. I don't know when the international thing happened, but we're gonna have to talk about this.
So you're saying that you're fine with being a paradigm vice president, but it's the international part that bothers you.
Yeah, you just oversee it locally and just kind of
can I just
communicate
like sit here
level.
And just?
It's a work from home thing, Justin. You're fine.
Okay, great, perfect.
Yeah. It's a remote gig.
International work from home.
That's
day.
Not a bad way to go. International work from home day.
That's today. We're going to make today International Work from Home Day.
Yeah.
Because it's the Friday before Memorial Day. It makes sense. Everybody's taking off anyway. Right?
No?
I don't
We're all working.
I am taking my first vacation day of the entire year.
I'm on vacation right now, but yet I'm working.
I'm not supporting any of that.
No.
Well, I've also maxed out my vacation, so if I don't take vacation days, they roll off.
Yeah.
So they go away. So I have to take 3 to 4 days off every month for the rest of my life.
So you're on vacation today too?
Permanent vacation.
Though I did have 2 meetings today, so how's that work?
Yeah,
and a podcast.
I know, yeah.
All right. Anyway, on today's
Another
show,
podcast or this one? Another one?
the one you're on right now.
Chris is cheating on us. This is bullshit. God.
I do my second show, the IT Super Friends, with a completely different group of people I've worked with.
Do you really?
They're really good.
But they know what they're talking about. All right. So on today's show, we're going to discuss what services we provide on our campuses, and we're going to discuss just what does system start mean when someone presses that system start button. But first, it's time for the AV News.
Yeah.
So excited every time.
Man.
And today's article is not the one we were going to discuss. We'll hold that one in abeyance for a future date with a special guest expert to discuss.
It could be breaking news on that one.
It could have been.
It could have
So
been.
close.
It will be breaking news when we record it in 3 weeks. So
We'll all know by then, but man, it would have been good.
This article comes from MIT, from the MIT News, and the title is, "This sound-suppressing silk," say that 3 times fast, "This sound-suppressing silk can create quiet spaces." So MIT has invented the curtains.
It's blanket curtains. Made of silk.
Sound curtains. Engineered in hair-thin fabric to create a lightweight, compact, and efficient mechanism to reduce noise transmission.
Are you just reading the article now?
RT60 on that?
7.
Ooh. Jesus. They need to go back to the lab. Right?
It's a lot of reverb.
I'm probably the guilty one who dropped this.
Yeah, Mark, you saw this and said, this looked interesting.
It did.
And I was like, well, they're just curtains, right? And you're like, no, here's why.
Well, they are curtains. You're not wrong with that, but
you said they were Iron Man curtains, is what you said.
Yeah,
they kind of are. They kind of are Iron Man curtains. That I actually could probably use these things. That if they're doing what they actually say they do. Now, I'm skeptical. However, can reduce volume and sounds up to 65 decibels.
Curtains do that. The curtains from 1980.
Well, these ones do. Well, yeah, you're talking about ones that are like made of like elephant
Asbestos?
skin or something
Like
like
that
that.
real
Yeah, like these.
Fiery ones that light up like that.
But we've all been in like rooms that were. We've all been in the worst case scenario. Let's just say it. You glass concrete box with nothing. And you're like, fuck. If I could, a single floor tile would go a long way here. But if I had these,
Thanks, architect.
these kind of things, I could roll in and put on the wall. Maybe that'd be even better. But without having to like get a committee of people to agree on what type of artwork you want to hang on the wall. But this kind of a thing, I could see a use for this. And then also in like these maker space type locations I have where they're like little open studio spots where they want to have a little tighter audio. Like I thought it was neat and nifty and cool because I think I see some utility here.
Yes, utility in general for sound absorption, and I think that's great. The catch here and what they've actually done here, and I'll read this little phrase or this paragraph in it.
Sell it to me.
The fabric, which is barely thicker than a human hair, contains a special fiber that vibrates when voltage is applied to it. And then that vibrating fabric generates sound waves that interfere with unwanted noise to cancel it out. So basically it's an active noise canceling curtain that is very thin, which means in theory, you could put that up as a wall treatment, like a traditional acoustic panel sort of thing, not even over a window, just a wall treatment, and kick those things on, and they're going to be vibrating at just the right frequency to eat up a lot of the reverberations in the room. So that is slick if this becomes a commercial product.
And how many times you've gotten that bullshit line from architects? We're going to have this super flexible space and blah, 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 and it's going to have always moving walls and, blah, blah, and oh yeah, they're going to be great. And you're always like, I don't know how the hell we're going to cut this up. So, and they always want, this is going to be the executive conference room, and it's just got a little drape there, and it's like, that's not going to work. Come on. And so I'm at least excited that there's some thought into things like this, that maybe one day we're going to have some more artillery in this war. Justin, go ahead. You're all in on this, so let's go.
Well, it's a blanket and it's thin and it does sound suppression.
Yeah,
it's an electric blanket,
It's an electric blanket, so it keeps you warm too.
An electric blanket. You could throw this over someone in a meeting so you can't hear
and they're
them
gone.
too, right?
They're
gone.
You could effectively take them out of any meeting.
That's what they mean by sound dampening.
It's the magic blanket.
It's a cloak, like you just drop on somebody and they are immediately out
David
of the meeting.
Copperfield blanket for AV.
When you're done hearing from that person down at the end of the table, all right, you're enough of you out of you.
Throw the blanket over him and just continue on the meeting.
Just move on. So
I like it.
I thought it was cool. It was definitely a different
Is it
site
so
for this
thin that you can see through it?
It's thinner than a human hair.
Yeah.
Can
Which
you
is
see
pretty
through
thin.
hair? I don't know.
Well, if I had an entire blanket of human hair, you think it'd be clear?
Maybe.
Justin, you raise a good point.
Who's
I don't think
clear-headed? Like who has clear hair?
I have clear hair. My hair is huge. You guys can't see it.
Like, what are you talking about?
Look how clear this hair is. Look at that.
Is that Prel? What is that? That's nice.
So, Selsun Blue. So, Justin,
everybody's got to make fun of me. Everybody take their jabs. It was a serious question.
Pretty sure we were making fun of me here, but anyway. The interesting thing here from what you brought up, which is interesting about it, is could this be thin enough that it would be transparent? Probably not. Yeah. Would it be translucent? My guess is yes. So they could be used in that sense, like as a sunshade.
You can project on this bad boy.
Wow,
too.
that's
an interesting idea.
about.
Yeah,
that's what.
And then
all you
when
crazy ones thinking I could do
the images are going to be shaking and just going to be what the hell's going on here.
How those combined separate rooms that I like. Now the walls are just curtains, and you just project right on them.
Acquaintance for you.
Chris knows what I'm talking about. I saw his face light up. He's like, "That's a brilliant
idea."
Ooh,
I didn't. It was not amazement.
That was amazement.
Bad idea.
Yes. Okay.
Well, good idea.
I have solved all sound transmission problems in my divisible spaces by not having them.
That's the first step.
Yes. Yeah. So anyway, interesting technology they're working on. Like I said, I do like this in concept that it could become just a simple wall treatment where they're going to do an acoustic, not even a panel, but an acoustic coverage on the entire wall sort of thing. And this would be functionally invisible. I'm sure it'll be the sort of thing where you could
ceiling tiles with this kind of stuff.
Sure, do it. Do ceiling tiles, do projection screens, do fabrics on furniture in the room, that sort of thing. I think there's a lot of potential here. If it becomes an actual commercial product, I guess we'll see. So
I'm all in. Heavily invested.
Done. Yeah. Called him up right now. Take all my money. All right, we're going to take a quick
$1.25.
$15.
$15.
Yeah,
I'll take $3.
$52.
$15, little man.
Depends on your credit. Let's not talk about endpoints.
All right, we're going to take a quick break. We're going to come back. We're going to talk about the services we provide on our campus. We're going to talk about how we determine how or what services we provide and how we do that and who's supporting it and all that fun stuff. But first, we're going to hear from Jamie, who's not here, but we're going to hear his voice anyway right now. That was not it.
Whoa, that was me again.
That was you again. I hit the wrong button. It's this button.
As many of you know, the Super Friends have always been better received when we have more input from you. So, here's your chance. Send us a note at mailbag@avsuperfriends.com and get involved with the show. We're looking for some topics to discuss, some fellow nerds to talk to, or just general AV awesomeness to brag about. But remember, we'll probably steal your ideas. And I suppose we'd take some criticism, but that wouldn't be very nice. Anyway, drop us a note at mailbag@avsuperfriends.com and find out how quickly we ask you to join this nonsense.
So for our first segment today, I wanted to talk about, and I think, Mark, you brought this up, and Justin, no, Larry, you brought it up as well. How do we, someone did, it wasn't me. I don't know.
Everybody brings this up at some point.
Not me, though.
It wasn't Justin.
Because I stand fast, and there's a rule, this is how it works. So,
okay. Cue it up. What do you think?
How do we determine what services we provide on campus, and more importantly, what we don't provide? Who qualifies for those services? Why do they qualify? How do we determine who qualifies for that? How do we determine who qualifies for support? That whole messy thing, because all of us are going to say, I build classrooms and conference rooms. But
that sounds
for who
so easy.
And why, and who's paying for it, and what's that look like?
There's a lot of variables with that.
There's a lot of variables. I think that the spirit of this, when I floated this in our back channel a couple months ago, was it seemed that we had gotten an uptick in requests for, hey, can you guys come over and just hang this thing or whatever widget we bought and just put it in for us? And it was like, we are not just labor services for you to install whatever thing you went out and freely bought. And it got me thinking, like, well, how do people know what it is what is our actual services? And because it is more often and more of than just, I do classrooms and conference rooms. There's more to it, right? And so I want to tease this out a little bit. Larry, you're wagging your finger.
Well, I wasn't wagging. I was just saying that I was in that same mindset of last week when I started getting a lot of requests from instructors in rooms that weren't classrooms, weren't classified as classrooms, but because there's a class, we had to get up and go.
How'd they get in there?
Everything is a teaching space.
Everything.
Everywhere on campus, there's learning happening.
Not according to the registrar,
especially in the restroom.
So, but as I was supporting those classes, I was thinking about Chris's position of where he just says no. And I was curious, how does that work? Because that would not work here.
So, Larry, let me give you an example.
You think about the word no, and then you verbalize it. This happened this week on about Wednesday or so. We had a department, to Mark's scenario. We had a guy from facilities reach out wanting to know what model electrical wall box we put in behind our displays. And I'm like, why? So I start trying to dig at this. And it comes back to, we just need the wall box. They've already bought a TV and other stuff. And I'm like, okay. And so the department chair will still not tell me what they're doing. And I said, look, my team can't support this and will not support this. You're using your own stuff. We were not involved. And his response, which was great, was, I'm not asking for support. I just want someone to put a TV on the wall. And I thought, great. To Mark's exact point, then he can do that.
That is not what we do. And I said, facilities is right there. They can do that all day long. Yep. You can never, ever call IT on this. And we've even started a list of rooms that are unsupported by people who have gone cowboy on their own and done this because they need to understand, if you go buy your own stuff, you are up a creek.
That's let it break first. Let it burn.
Yep.
That's
so Justin, I've seen you have been painted into this corner on several things where people have gone out in organizations and wholesale departments and have built buildings of things that are outside of what you do. Yeah. But it is our belief that there may and or may not be a wager on the line.
There is
about some specific things about support.
I think he gave us 1,000 to 1 on that or something.
Yeah. And so I think there are two camps. Like, you either do what we offer, or you're on your own.
Yes.
Or the other side is, we try to deal with everything. Right. And so, and yes, there is minutiae in between there, but those seem to be like both sides of this coin. But to me, one's not wrong or right, but it's also coming down to how the clients perceive your services, what they believe you do, right? And so I think that's what I want to talk about. Like, what do your clients believe you do, and how do you actually have that conversation when you're like, no, that's not actually what we do? Because that's the friction point. That's
just
where things get
just hanging TVs on walls. That's all we do.
It just depends on the clients, really, is what it comes down to, and it really depends upon money. So if somebody's budget is very short, like they think,
I don't know if it does.
I think
it shouldn't.
So. Oh, I'd agree, it shouldn't. But if their budget's short, then they think that we are their only choice for labor. Because they can't go outside for labor, so they're stuck with us. So
I would challenge that too.
Why I would challenge it?
Why are you the only place they can go for labor?
Because they can't afford
anything else. Is that due to budgetary?
Else?
Okay, so you're saying they can't afford market rate.
Exactly. So that's what I'm saying is some of that is budget driven, some of it's culture driven, some of it's political driven, some of it's just who knows. Like,
I think it has more to do with your maturity on the Gartner curve. Well, to be honest, I think it's more about the way that your leadership view IT service.
Well, so I would disagree with that one last statement. It's how leadership views. It's how IT leadership views your AV department. Because IT leadership,
there's no such thing as an AV department. It's all IT.
Well, depending on the IT leadership,
if you're allowing yourself to be defined as AV as a utility type service, then that is probably
that's how they define us.
If you are a labor service, you're just providing labor, then you're guilty of kind of setting yourself up and painting yourself into that corner.
Well, I just applied for the job. I'm not guilty of. I'm just trying to work.
You're guilty.
Kind of guilty.
Go to jail. Trying to AV jail.
Go to AV jail.
Straight to jail.
But no, I think that's the basis. Like, I think there are plenty of leaders out there that'll say, we don't want anybody failing and fumbling because, like you said, everything on campus is a teaching and learning space, potentially. We're not going to say, oh, you have to be in here to teach or not. So anything that's related and using technology has our brand and our university potentially at risk if it does not go off correctly. So it's real muddy and murky intentionally. So what does that mean? So what does that mean for any of your individual services?
And to build on that, like every space is a teaching space. Well, the instructor that is put in that room by their department doesn't know that they're not in a covered classroom. No, and so when they call and I send my students or someone over and the student is like, well, this isn't a classroom. Their first question is, what do you mean it's not a classroom?
Yeah, because this is a class.
We don't really care about that. Did we design it? Did we install it? Did we program it? If so, we are supporting it. And, tickets come in. We don't really define what a classroom is.
I have a question for you.
Yeah.
What happens with the no?
Well, what happens if you designed it 10 years ago and you installed it 10 years ago and that was one-time funds and there was never plans to fund the refresh of that room? At what point do you stop supporting it?
You would have to quit your job here. It's the only way to stop supporting that. So that's the conundrum.
So you say you are supporting it though, right?
Oh, hell yeah. Hell yeah. And we don't want to.
That dinner's looking better, guys. I'm telling you. Yeah.
And we don't want to, but it is what it is. So
they force you at gunpoint. Get over there.
Now, remember, we installed it. We installed this MPS 100. They call us because it broke. We say, hey, we're going to have to buy something new. Here's your quote. That's us supporting it because we can't. So
the act of buying means you support forever?
Yeah.
Okay. No, that is an identity that I believe is projected upon us at all. Well, I bought what you told me to buy, therefore you own
we're
this thing,
putting
right?
it in. We recommend it. We procure it. We bill back the department a number at the end of the project. It falls into support. There is no expiration date on these systems, unfortunately, even though there is not. And we have to, pull parts out and rewire things. And that's where you get to cut buttons off remotes. Because by the time your touch panel dies, your MPS 100 dies, and all you have is a VGA cable plugged into the wall from a computer, that's what we're supporting because all of their equipment died. So they lost all the functionality. So we're just peeling away functionality. And until everything dies in the room, if their projector dies, they can't afford it. We just remove that and sorry, we don't have a classroom anymore. It's tough shit.
Just run to fail. Everything put it in run to fail, and then you're out.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, so
now departments do sometimes listen to us during the needs analysis, and sometimes
love it.
They may try to budget ahead, and so we were able to work with our education department and rework their whole building this past summer and refresh every room at once. Now it doesn't happen often. That's the first time. So that building was built 12 years ago. This past summer is the first time we've refreshed it. So in 12 to 15 more years, we'll touch that building again when they have more money.
Or when they have money. Justin, what you described there is, it's not an uncommon tale where departments get one-time funds or capital funds or something, and then they realize, well, wait a minute, we have to pay for this?
Yeah, so we don't have
over and over
central classrooms. You heard me talk about this before. So everything's department funded, so it leads to this weird support conundrum. So it is what it is.
Okay, so let me try to get a bear trap out here. You guys can step in. Let me just bring it out.
I already stepped in 3.
So we've talked a lot about owning the knowledge work, right? You've heard us ramble on and prattle on about owning that knowledge work and something else. So is there ownership in the need for you all and your groups to do that installation? And is that what you're identifying? Is that your service? Is the installation physical hardware stuff your service?
It's our responsibility to make sure it happens.
Okay.
If that makes sense. So we sometimes hire our own general contractor. Hey, we need this big screen moved and installed here with this big projector lift or whatever the hell happens, right? We flex our resources as we need to, but yes, that's a subset of the services that we provide.
Yeah. So you need to make sure it's done. Maybe it's not necessarily you, but it's your task to check off.
If it doesn't get done, we're accountable. The client's not pissed at a contractor. They don't know who, they don't care.
And we're definitely way down the task sheet here. Like this is right. But I just wanted to see, because you said we installed it, we support it. So there are things that you do not install, but you do in fact support.
We have to, if it's not designed by us, we won't support it. If it's not programmed by us, we won't support it. If it's not installed by us or overwatched installed by us or managed the install, right? Because we're providing the solution. We come up with that solution. We came up with the specifications on, cable labels and whatever the hell else we put out there. And so if a general contractor is installing something, we're there with the GC or with whoever that contractor is.
You are the liaison to the university.
They're just a flexible position in IT at that point. And then once they pay, they're doing something else.
So would you all agree that you are the identified stewards of the solutions for technology involved with teaching and learning?
Man, I don't know. I hope so. Sometimes I wonder if...
Okay. Is that a common starting point? Is that close enough to the reality that we identify or project our identities on?
I think that's a starting point, but we extend so far beyond that.
Even prior to that, you said, are you the identified team to do that? Or whatever you phrase there, the identified resource. There are departments, who will run off and do their own thing, or at least try to for a semester or two, and then realize, we probably should have been doing what those IT guys said.
And we don't support those.
Well, right. But what I'm getting at is not always. There are people who will go off and do their own thing. The professor we had this happen, and this was fun, professor who hired their own integrator, who came in on the weekends to do their own thing in their own lab.
That's a big hell no.
Yeah, pretty much. So not only did we have to go to procurement and get that contractor banned from all future campus position or all future campus payments. They can no longer make money on campus. But both facilities and
was
IT.
That their fault, or they just did what they were being paid to do?
That's severe punishment.
You're penalizing them for somebody else's decision.
Not my problem. They know what they were fucking doing. Because here's the thing. Several months prior, I ran out an open request for qualifications for anyone who wanted to ever do AV work on campus.
So this is a roundabout.
It was context. You're missing the context here, Chris.
I'm just saying. There's a way to do things, and they know damn well the way to do things is to not come in on weekends and work with one guy who props a door open for you, sort of thing. So
okay, so there's more to this story.
So we've washed our hands of that one. Just no, you guys can't ever call us about anything in that room ever. No, not happening.
So.
Yeah, I want to get to that, but I'm curious about what happens to the spaces you don't support, but I don't want to go there yet. I still want to get into and tease out.
They fall apart over time.
But save it. The point, like, do you have a service catalog? Yes or no? Not in your head, like public facing. Do people find it and they know what it is you're doing?
Yes. Yeah, but it's not accurate anymore.
Exactly.
I don't think anybody's is accurate. So that's okay. You're all on your journey through digital transformation, and that's fine. So, but what is the 80% of that service catalog? If you were to rewrite it today and you had we're going to ride an elevator for 10 flights, explain to me what your service catalog is.
ID and security.
Wait, what?
What?
IT service catalog. 80% of it.
No, what you do, not what.
No, your segment.
Not IT segment?
You. Okay.
Yes.
Well, I'm just wondering what,
Do you want my university mission statement? Would that help?
I have a bunch of money. I want to sponsor you and build up your organization. What the hell do you do? How are you going to put this money to work?
I don't know. Let me go look it up. Hold on.
Not a good start.
Well, I've never even looked. I'm not in the
support technology and learning spaces.
I'm not responsible.
Yeah, we could probably start there.
Yeah.
You support technology, and so that seems real naive. It seems so.
Here's
naive.
But that's it.
Here's what pisses me off about my service catalog as listed. Not only does it have the incorrect phone numbers and shit on there. Again, this was all from the dark.
No, yeah, it's always somebody else's fault.
They used the wrong department name.
Everybody's is wrong. You get rebrand every 3 years.
No. I'm saying we have a name, and they defined it incorrectly, which pisses
it was on
me
a
off.
Drupal form 10 years ago. Nobody has a login.
Yes, correct. That's the other problem. And we're migrating LMSs, so please don't mess with the website. I get that.
We have two.
It says we provide one fucking service.
We have two.
Mm-hmm.
Support. That's it.
You know what ours is?
Probably not wrong, but okay.
Chris already says he doesn't support.
At the time, that was correct. The one thing the team did was sit and wait for a call and then go support it. That was it.
They're firefighters. That's fine.
Yes. Okay. No, it's not fine.
No, it's not moving forward. But if that reflect what was going on at the time of that Drupal entry when it went in there, cool. You guys were a bunch of firefighters.
It was an accurate reflection of how the team was structured at the time. It is not correct, but yes, that is
okay.
So we have
Justin. You found something. What'd you find?
Official services in our service catalog. When I clicked AV, you ready for this shit?
Do I have a choice?
First one. Classroom or AV issue or request. Do you need ITS assistance involving a WKU classroom, AV conference room, or an event space? Click here. Event space. See? That bullshit. And then we got the second one.
Not bullshit. It's real. It's a real
That's
service.
a real thing, dude.
But it's not a classroom. Event space. An event space. Not an event. An event space.
Sure, we've all done rooms that serve as event spaces in the evening and classrooms during the day.
Oh, no. This is like a nicely centered, like the whole event. You know what I'm
What's
talking about, Mark.
What's your mission statement
the
for
second
your
one? I don't know yet. I can look that up here in a second. Zoom or digital signage issue or request. That's the only two service catalog entries we have. I think we really have three because the project request is all of IT, and that's kind of where that design services come in. So that's kind of a hybrid AV IT. Mm-hmm. So 2.5 services we offer in AV.
Okay.
I don't know.
Interesting. All right.
By the way, I love looking through this old webpage to see that our hourly rate for event support, which Justin was just talking about, it actually does not even pay my minimum technician's salary.
It never does.
So do you all have kind of like your mission for your groups?
Let me see. Mission
Yeah, I
statement.
support nothing else. That's my mission.
Service catalog.
Okay.
Well, that's my service catalog.
Popular mission
Like
statement.
your main website. What
I just read you my main website.
That was it. Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
And it also it identifies the incorrect location where we're located, which doesn't matter because why. And it also has a phone number which doesn't ring anywhere, nor did it ring anywhere when I got here 3 years ago. So
All I'm hearing is opportunity. Green pasture for complete digital transformation for Chris.
Okay.
the sky is the limit to completely transform and grow the department into what it should be doing. So, but if you want my short version is we consult, design, install, maintain, support, et cetera, that sort of thing. But so when we change this, it will be very different. But I'll get to it, or I'll just delete it and go away.
I don't know if this is a mission statement or not.
Well, I actually have mine. It is
You
the
have
vision
one?
of you. Yep, I have
Is
one.
this university or IT or AV?
This
Like
is
how
the
high
U-
up is this?
This is the IT, but we are IT. Like we don't segment AV IT. We are IT. We are in the learning technology group of the IT department. So
Are
this
you
is
gonna
the
read?
overall. I can, yeah.
Let's read it.
I can read too.
It is the vision of UNCG ITS to be a catalyst for innovative learning and research, creating connected communities where diverse people and ideas thrive. That's our mission statement.
Wow, that
There you
was
go.
very
Fair
well
enough.
written
It's
and
appropriately
read.
short.
Yeah, I'll read you a long one. So this is buried somewhere. I just did a quick search and took like the real path of what's out there. Let me just take the honest person who's looking at it and what would they find? Academic technologies. Now this is Academic Technologies' mission is to enrich OSU's academic ecosystem, enable innovative pedagogy and information sharing through effective use of technology and enhancing the student experience. Right? We attain our mission through.
Oh God, you're going to the second sentence.
Just three, yeah. So this is the next down, right? This is
delete it.
different. Yeah. Leadership and understanding, applying instructional and communication technology trends and innovations, investing in products and services that align and integrate with the goals and needs of OSU students and faculty, and maximizing the university's investments through user support, training, and resource maintenance.
That wasn't that long. Hey, I
That's
found
it.
ours.
Yeah. So again, it's not like, oh, you don't see we install things you bought from Amazon in there anywhere like that. And so we're kind of guilty. People recognize us like, hey, those guys do technology, therefore they probably know how to do this. And I think,
And it's just a TV, Mark.
Yeah.
it's just TV, right? And so we often give them a lot of grief, like that's not what I do, but that's what they recognize us as being able to do, and they recognize us as the subject matter experts for all of the things of that, and they're not wrong. But we often hear, well, that's not, I don't support that. And so that's where we kind of get this really weird.
Making fun of me?
I'm making fun with you, Chris. And so that's the
Because I don't support you making fun of that.
right. So I don't know. I try to not feel bad. I get what people are asking for. And then going back to what you said, Justin, like, oh, the money thing, like, I love when people are like, oh, we can't afford it. Like, I love that challenge.
I'm tired of that challenge.
Like, to me, it's like, if you think you don't have the money, then let's have a conversation. What is it that you're doing? And are you a part of this university? Yes or no? Let's start there.
Mark, I think in the past we've had the discussion about we all have to charge departments for our labor. It's kind of a cost thing that we just, we use that almost as are you serious about this? Because
and that's okay. Yeah.
I think in the past you've said you don't do that with your departments because it's a service to the university.
Yeah. We
Depends on your funding model, Larry.
It does. And I think that's the nuance here. I think unfortunately in today's age, a lot of IT, I'll lump AV in there, are in this cost recovery, holy shit, the sky is falling, we have to do everything we can to stay solvent mode. I'm painting with a very wide brush, and I apologize if that's not your
Just
take.
throwing paint everywhere. It's paint.
And that's fine. Get paint on you.
Who's going to clean up this paint?
You are. It's one of your services.
I don't
is it not?
support that.
Other duties as assigned.
Yeah. So, but I think leadership gets overly focused on the bottom dollar, where we lose sight of what the mission is, right? And so, if everything you're doing is from a stance of it's culture of scarcity. And oh my God, we cannot do this unless we first get an index or money. Like, yes, we're not buying free stuff and giving it out for free, but there's a way to get things funded if you know the language and understand what the university is doing. And is what you're asking me the mission of the organization? Yes or no? Like that's the first test. Like, I'm not going to come out and install a bunch of video games in your dorms and all that stuff. Like, that's not teaching and learning for us, right? And so,
esports.
Actually, I have that. I have a project upcoming where I'm doing exactly that. So. Yeah.
And that's okay if that's what you do, as long as you can make that connection to your mission, right? If you're there, usually when people are aligned with the mission, resources become available. So the whole rent model thing that Justin's in, where like we're just broke and nothing's going to happen, like that sounds to me that everybody's afraid to have an honest conversation. They're just kind of like, well, fuck, we'll hope to do the best, and we're just going to run this in down, and maybe tomorrow will be better.
I think there's a lot of kicking the bucket down the road. It's not my problem. Let somebody else deal with it. I've only got a year left. I don't really care. You know,
you're in a leadership vacuum.
I've only got a year left. I like that.
I've heard that
I'm
shit
not coming
all the
over
time.
there.
I've only got 3 years left. Why would I spend $20,000 on a classroom? I know what to deal with.
I've gotten that. People are like, I don't care what you put in there. I'm going to be gone next year. I'm like, well, thanks, but I understand. Like,
way to be
if
a
I was
steward
asking
of the
you
university
to pay for this out of your paycheck, yes, it may seem like a lot of money. But what we're doing is enterprise solutions here. So let's have an honest conversation. What is the capability you need? Like, when people come to the table and say, "Hey, I found this list of widgets on Amazon. Can you just buy that?" To me, that's a scream for, "Oh my God, I don't know what I'm doing. I'm coming to you. Can you just validate this for me?" It's like, let's roll that back. What is it you're trying to do? I don't offer purchasing services. That's not one of my goals and my services. I will buy things that are part of our solutions, but I'm not going to just buy you something because you saw an owl camera or whatever the hell it is. Like, can I do that? Sure. Is that a good use of my time? No, you fucking buy it. Like, I don't care. But it's not one of our standards. So we are.
And I'm not going to support that. So there you go.
Exactly.
Win-win.
Chris isn't going to support it. So
Mark's not buying it. I'm not supporting it. This is great. Just efficiencies.
Yeah, see? And so it's easy to get there, but do we often stop and actually get to that level of competition? What the hell is it?
You're right. Oftentimes that is that's not the catalyst. That's the wrong term. That's the impetus for a larger conversation on, you can go do that. And sometimes they even will. And they're like, I put this owl cam in this room of 80 people and we couldn't see or hear people. Correct. Let's have a conversation about how to do that. And let's determine what you're actually trying to do, and we'll work up a solution. And it may take them a full budget cycle to plan for that and afford it. I've had multiple projects in the last couple of years do that, where I have met with this group twice prior to them actually moving forward with the project, and then recognizing, that took 2 years for us to get the funds together and plan that out, but it's much better now, and we have the appropriate solution for teaching and learning now. But it sometimes takes them a while.
And sometimes it is. It's the art and like nuance around that. It's a whole shift, right? And so we have departments that do the same thing. They operate in the shadows, and we never get any money. Nobody cares about us. It's like, I don't see you at any of the meetings. I've never seen a business case for anything you guys want. Yeah, it's easy to say you're not getting any money, but if you're not asking and you don't know the language, there is a game and an equation to doing this. Do you know it? Does your leadership know it? I don't see them in the meeting, so you're not going to get anything. Yep. Like, you have to play the game and understand, and it is in your narrative.
Well, I wouldn't say play the game as much as there's a process. And universities, especially public universities, they move slow on things. It's like, we're turning a cruise ship here. This is not a speedboat. So from the time you say, I need a new X, Y, and Z in this new space we're building out or whatever, it's 4, 5, 6 months for that to get to fruition. That does not happen in the next 3 weeks. And that's part of the frustration of, I can just go to CDW and I can click buy, and these things are here in 4 days. And I
can just call them, and then they'll install it.
My nephew came in and stuck it on the wall. And why can't you guys just do that?
Right, because then you have to get in the conversation. We're here for support at scale, right? You want one of our standard solutions because we know it works in our support ecosystem. We want you to have success. Therefore, this is our kit that brings you that success, right? And there often is that fallacy that people believe that, it's the hardest part is just getting the thing.
No,
it's irrelevant. That's the easiest part, right? Getting the thing to show up on the dock is the easiest piece, but we're not going to get into supply chain. We're not going to get into
I'm not even talking
about
that.
This conversation.
So Mark, we have a weird situation with procurement with POs versus credit cards. And so anything that requires a credit card right now, we stop that. So everything has to be a PO.
Don't buy them with that.
So but before that,
what's the problem?
POs took longer, and then credit cards were easy, and so it's easier to just buy on beards and hats.
That's that's an internal on a credit card.
You're screaming digital transformation need here, man. Come on.
No. Clients. The clients are buying their own stuff on credit cards, which can't be regulated by procurement because it happens so fast and it's instant, and the shit just shows up.
So, Mark, to your point about the even the purchasing is the easy part. I've got a group and
I'm not saying it's the easiest part, but it's overly focused on.
Relatively, it is though. So I've got a group at a remote campus, and they said, "Hey, our projector in this room died." And I said, "Look, they're like 5 hours away. I'm not going to drive up there to measure for a projector and tell you what to order. Get me some photos, get me some measurements. I'll tell you exactly what you can go to B&H right now. You can order it. It's hanging up there. You work for IT. You can figure this out." Right. Someone can help you over the phone or whatever. I'm not driving up there, and they won't even do that. I'm like, look, if you're not going to make effort one, then sorry, you're going to be on your own. And they're upset that I'm like, you need to call an integrator because you're 5 hours away from me. You need to call an integrator.
To change a projector out?
No. the whole room needs a whole thing. But you need to call an integrator and get a
bait and switch. I guess.
Yes, and get a multi-year service contract. So you stop calling. This is basically like somebody at a different campus calling you and being like, "Come do my job for me." So it's a whole thing. But they won't even go so far as to use their credit card, their procurement card, to order a new projector to just swap that out, because I'm like, the cables are already there. It's already got power. There's already data. There's already a HDMI up there. You just plug it in. So it's easy.
Let them have that victory.
But they won't even do that.
So they're telling you they don't believe that it's their responsibility to go up on a ladder and interface with that endpoint.
Correct.
I think they're in the can't somebody else do it mode. And that somebody else is not me. So, and I've got that all the way up to my leadership, up to the CIO, being like, yeah, we don't know. That's not what we do. So,
but they've recognized that, hey, this is AV, and Chris' name says AV right in the middle of it. So that's got to be his job. Right.
Well, and they also have done people have come up here in the past to do this stuff. Well, first of all, that wasn't me. That was 5 years before I got there. And secondly, that was a different group. And thirdly, that person didn't even work there at the time. So it's like a whole bunch of just like random, like historical context for that stuff.
Okay. But
to your point, the procurement side of things, they won't even do the easy step. It'd be one thing if they called and said, I bought a new projector, please come help me with it. But they haven't even done that part. So like, all right.
Okay. So I want to do a kind of a bit of a test here. Are your organizations, and if you don't want to speak on behalf of your organization, that's fine. Do you think the trend is to be more inclusive and support the things at large, or to be more draw the line around we deal with the standards and only the standards?
I can answer that. I'm pretty excited about this.
Did you just raise your hand?
I am pretty excited about this because I was concerned that we were becoming more segmented, and like we were going toward Chris's route of you're on your own little island.
I need to provide context, Larry. Hold on.
Wait. But in the past couple of weeks, like we went out and had conversations with numerous departments about their hidden conference rooms and the things that they're doing that we don't know about.
Hidden ones.
Holy shit!
And
this one's behind the
underground conference room.
It's been exciting because we've had conversations about how do we support those? Like, how are we actually bringing these rogue groups into a
bigger
a place that we can actually support them and enable them to have success? Because right now they're using 12-year-old systems. Like they're going to fail in the middle of a graduate thesis. Like there's no reason to do that.
Somebody in your leadership that says, why are we putting our brand at risk with this clunky, kludgy old shit in here when if... For all we know, that graduate student is going to go on to become the next quadrillionaire and donate billions of dollars back to our company. So let's face it, we're not in the industry of creating degrees. We want to create massively successful donors. That's what we're trying to do here, right? And so that at the end of the day, we want to make people that
I'm going to put that in my mission statement.
Wildly successful, so that they come back and speak highly to our organization is better overall. Like, don't get me wrong. The degree we're going to create is part of that process, but the game is changing. And if you don't recognize it, you're missing out.
Yeah. Larry, let me provide some context on that, just so people aren't getting the wrong impression. I support. So here's the thing.
They've already got the wrong impression, Chris. There's
I
not digging
nothing.
Yeah,
I'm clarifying here.
He put stuff in. Sorry, see ya.
No, if I put it in, I'll support it forever for free. I inherited a whole campus full of just crazy nonsense. We support all of that. We support everything we possibly can. It's when people deliberately, now that we are building this new, mature, appropriately operating AV and IT team, when they still go around, those are the ones who get we don't support that sort of thing. Usually that follows up with, how do we get you guys to support this? And it becomes a meeting when we get through that. We are funded for supporting 59 spaces on campus, our general inventory classrooms. That's it.
Really?
I support 640 spaces. So there's a bit of a discrepancy there. So we will support anyone we can. However, we're going to the general inventory classes who actually are owned by the provost and pay us. Correct. We go there first. When we're done with that, we will come help you in your little room that you cobbled together with shit from Best Buy. But it may not be today. It may not be tomorrow. We might come by on Thursday to assist you with that. That's just the reality of how things operate.
You don't have infinite resources.
Correct.
And you have time.
And the rule of thumb, and I finally got our help desk to understand this. At any given time, I have 2 or 3 full-time people and 2 or 3 students who are available to support campus. At 9:02 a.m. on a Tuesday, they're all out there supporting things right now. So if you call at 9:03, it may be a while before someone can assist you with that. So That's just the reality of how we scale. But the ones that I specifically do not support are we went off and did our own thing after you even found out about it. Why won't you come help us? Sorry.
So, I'm trying to think of like where we say no. I'm trying to like look back here.
If we're not involved, that's when we say no. We can't support it because we weren't involved.
And that's like
just like the consultant integrators crap. Just like Chris, when the integrator shows up randomly, like no.
Even that, it depends, because I've supported some of those things to help them get through.
See, I think our expectation is at a minimum, even if it's something we know nothing about, and it was put in the cloak of darkness by a double secret ninja squad 25 years ago. The expectation for our leadership is we will go and look and try to assist the best we can, best effort.
Same.
I had 2 of my guys go over and spend a day for no charge to fix the DSP that plays background music in the bookstore that was installed in 2001. Right. Okay. But it was one of those things where like, okay, well, we can come over in a couple of weeks and look at that. It hasn't worked for a year anyway, so it was not a critical thing. Oh, we have time on Tuesday. 2 of my guys can go over there and look at that. So yes, we will support campus.
There's that nuance between immediate response and long-term support.
And that's usually what they mean by support is come right now. Yeah. Well, no, you built your own thing out of weird stuff you bought on Amazon. We'll be there on Thursday.
So that's not too far from us. Like if we get a call about a system we don't even know about, which does still happen, we got to go look at it. Like, whoa, what the hell is this?
That is not what your dinner bet said, dude.
Oh, we got to go look at it because guess what the next step is? We have to do a project.
You're going to project.
This is how we're going to get it under support. I can't not look at a system to be able to design it for the room.
Chris, hold my beer. I'll show you how to not look like
so if you Justin, walk let me explain how you won't plug it in.
No,
that's a union job, Larry. That sounds like a job for an electrician.
I'm just saying, like you will support it up to a level.
I have people skills, bro. I'm not out here plugging
Justin,
things in.
Here's how you avoid looking. Here's how you say, I'm not going to not go look at a project or not go look at a room. Yeah, you just don't not go look at it. That's easy. Just don't do it.
Well, we've got
because here's the problem.
We don't know what it is. We don't know what's going on. We don't nothing about this room. Hey, we need some help in academic complex 505. Like, what the hell is 505? We never heard of 505. Let's figure out what the hell is in 505.
That's a fair point. But let me ask this question: don't you have a master list of every? To Larry's earlier comment.
Oh hell no! Are you kidding me?
I thought I did, and I don't.
Of every teaching space. So you don't have a registrar vetted list of teaching spaces? I have
a registrar list. These were not on that list.
Yeah. If they're not on that list, you might want to bring that up to the registrar and the provost because that is going to be fighting against your space utilization, and that department is now, or college or whoever it is now doing themselves a disservice by having teaching spaces that are not being used appropriately. So,
well, sure.
So we're not going to have the time to even get into the other monster in the room.
No.
What monster?
Just events.
Well, we don't. Yeah,
we do.
Yeah. See, yes,
we do.
So, because somebody's going to say, "Well, isn't every class an event?" And yes, they're not wrong.
No,
technically they are. They're on a calendar. They are a specific time. There's things going on. People are there.
Calendar for an
event. Yes.
Starts in 10 minutes. That's my calendar.
So, and we offer some services around that, but we do not produce those things. But anyway, this is an interesting, fascinating conversation because I think people at large, our clients out and about, believe we do a lot of things. Mm-hmm. And I think we should embrace that they do recognize us as those subject matter experts and that we do those things and resist that urge to say no. Looking at you, Justin. Looking at you, Chris.
We don't really
be
say
more
no.
Inclusive to those people. They're just asking for help.
If you want our support and it was done by someone else, here's the design and the quote to bring this under support. If you don't do this, we walk away.
I don't go to that extent. If somebody has, I'll give you this most recent example. The same person who was like, I just want you to hang a TV on the wall that we went off and bought. Last summer, we went through the full process with this same physical person in one of his spaces over, this is how design, what do you need? Let's talk about this. That camera's not in the right spot. You want to move this around. You want to rotate the room, the whole thing. And we did that, and it's been a very, high functioning room for the last year. They're, for whatever reason, refusing to go through that process again. So yeah, I'm going to drag my feet a bit.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not going to exclude
there's a right
him, but
and a
it's
wrong way. But do we do enough to allow people to on-ramp correctly? And there's
and I think
work to be done there.
We need to be better at that process. Yes, the on-ramp process needs to be better, and that's something that's on my list of stuff to do with that project intake. How do we clearly define our services? How do we get the word out about what we do, and to Justin's point, what we don't do? But then how do we ensure that what we are doing does provide supported spaces down the road? So, and that is a big carrot and stick that I've wielded for the last couple of years at a new campus is if my team is involved with this project throughout, we support it for free forever. And they're like, oh, great, let's do that. Because at the end of the day, we're going to do it anyway. But if you're going to go,
they want to know that like you have all the spares, you have the stuff, and I can call you. Oh, sign me up. Let's go.
But if they're going to and we found this stuff, no, it's different. So.
Cool. Okay.
All right. Well, I think we solved it, right? We wrapped that one up.
Do more, not less.
Okay. Let's take a quick break, and then we're going to come back and talk about the joys of automating systems. Wait, is that? I guess
automation.
Automations.
The stuff you support.
Hey, you look like you're pretty good at hanging projector mounts. You're probably able to run up a ladder with a projector on one shoulder and spin it onto the pipe without missing a beat, right? Well, are you ready for the next level in projector mounting hardware? Then try independent amalgamated frustration mounts. Our factory kits don't line up with any of the popular projector brands. Universal mount interface? What's that? Each independent amalgamated frustration mount ships with almost all the hardware you need to fully integrate with your projector. And for an extra special treat, we'll mix metric and standard hardware and ship them loose in the box. Our anchor mounting points come pre-stripped and cross-threaded for your convenience, and none of our set screws or tension nuts will maintain their position for more than a few minutes, just long enough for you to get down off the ladder and start working on something else. Got a tough installation with a short throw or ultra short throw projector? Independent amalgamated frustration mounts are a perfect solution and will ensure your labor charges really add up. For your next project, try independent amalgamated frustration mounts. You'll hate them. And coming soon, frustration mounts for LCD monitors and TVs.
So for our final segment, this is one of those fun topics that I can't remember how it came up, but it was in discussion weeks ago about how much are we automating in our automated classroom systems, automated conference room systems, or automated AV systems. So when someone starts the system, what all are we starting? Are we automatically firing projectors and displays? Are we automatically routing sources? Are we automatically enabling cameras and unmuting microphones? What are we or are we not doing?
Yeah, what happens when you hit that press here to begin? What all is going on?
Mine just sends a support
I don't have that button.
You know how? Oh, okay.
I just have the start screen where you can select whatever source you want, and when you select a source,
it's just there.
There's no splash screen that says press to begin.
No, because I don't see the point in it. Like if I'm pressing that, I want to do something. Why don't I just do something?
Do the thing you want to do. Right?
Yeah,
I don't disagree with you.
Yeah,
but it's not wrong.
So are you? Is everything just running? Everything in the rack's just on, just burning away.
Yeah, most things are in the rack burning away. Like I don't have much in the rack anymore. Systems are simple. Are really.
But you're not doing the old school thing with like a bunch of relays, like
yeah,
everything's powering on,
Furman power sequencer,
like a popcorn machine.
I don't do that. But when the system turns on, I do turn on the mics. I do unmute the mics. I do turn on the camera in the back of the room.
But what turns the system on?
Whenever you select PC.
Okay.
PC
that's
turns the projector on and turns the...
Okay, so you have them select a source to route, and that
do they
kicks
turn
off.
It off, though?
They do have to turn it off, although I do automate turn off at nighttime, but...
at a time, yeah. So it's always wrong. During their watch movie, you turn
exactly.
off on them.
Yeah. I'll get yelled at.
Film class always gets it, yeah.
But yeah, like everything turns on because I don't know if they've submitted to automatically record their class, and so because of that, I need the mic on.
What? You made me believe that you have a capture deck sitting in that rack of shit.
No,
is that true?
No, I can do that through Panopto.
Okay.
Yeah.
Make sure. I'm gonna make sure we're not
Panopto will automatically capture class whether they've logged in or not. It's going to capture, and so that camera and mic are always recording.
They're always burning away.
Yep.
Did you get a bunch of captures filled with nothing? Just curious. Asking for a friend.
No, because they have to do a special request to have that automatically recorded. Generally, they have to kick off the recording, and there's just some instructors that want to have that there every time. So it's very few. It's like we might get 6 or 7 requests a semester.
Okay. We have a smattering of touch panels and button panels, right? So touch panels, we do have that little press to begin, and boom, you're right there at your choose your source. Because we do have an off that does shut the display down and mutes microphones and all that stuff. We're not doing like power sequencing anymore. That was like a thing that we used to do a lot of. And every once in a while, somebody will we should really find out how much draw your power is pulling in your rack. That'll always float. Somebody always brings that up. And it's like, okay, we'll give you the math.
Those people have too much time.
Right. Can you turn all that off? Yeah, we can.
Will you?
No. But let's talk about all the other things we're wasting energy on. Like, why are we picking on this rack right now? Like, so, but yeah, they're all IP controlled. We could do all that, but we've typically found that, like, leave it on. How very IT of us, I guess. I don't know.
I encourage them to flip the rocker at the top of the rack, turning off everything so there's no draw, and then they can also complain.
Fly, yeah.
Well, then they can complain why they lose the first 10 minutes of their class as the entire thing boots back up.
Yeah,
right. Yeah. So we're in like a continually burned state here. Okay. Justin, I'm curious.
Wait, Mark, you didn't say like what? You have a screen, the touch to begin screen.
In the button panel. Sorry, the button panels are just same thing. There's the physical little button on the bottom that looks like the international symbol for power,
which no one knows what that means.
It's really just turning the display on and off.
Yeah.
And I do have that button as well, but it does the exact same thing as the PC button. It just turns the system on and routes the PC.
Mm-hmm. Right. Yeah.
So, Larry, what you're saying is your PC button is simply mislabeled.
I have 2.
That's what I'm hearing.
I want however
two
the
PC
instructor wants to use the system, it will work.
I got it. Well, I got a question, Larry. What if I was an instructor and I
You're
wanted to
probably
turn on?
I
want to turn on your system by plugging in my shitty laptop.
That'll work too.
There you go.
It will.
You just plug it in and signal sense goes.
Yeah.
Hot plug detect.
You made the correct assumptions.
Yeah.
Hot plug detect. Gotta love it.
Mark, what about in your spaces? What about cameras and mics? Are they just always on cooking?
They're always on. They're muted through the playback, but they're typically on.
Correct, but they're muted.
Yeah, they're muted.
Okay.
In room. So do you turn the system
on?
What
about PTZ cameras? Are they in standby mode facing away, or are they looking right at you?
On.
Okay.
On and going. Spewing out data. Because now
with the tally light flashing?
Just flashing. Yeah, just crazy. We do leverage those as our additional support cameras, believe it or don't. We use those.
You guys aren't doing the little Axis cameras in the projectors anymore?
We use the PTZ cameras as our ability to see into the classroom. Now, we don't have students just jumping in there, driving and moving things.
As far as they know.
Yeah, as far as I know. But it does give us why provide a redundant camera.
Funny thing is, the few times that we've done that, where we're like, oh, let me just remote and look at that with the camera to try to help this person I'm on the phone with, and you're looking around and they don't like, hey, what's going on back there?
Yeah. So when they notice it moving, wait, what's going on?
Yep.
That's why you always have it default to preset 1,
yes,
which is that framed up front of the room.
But sometimes you need to move it and zoom in on stuff to see what they're actually doing.
No, you don't.
Oh, you're talking about for your surveillance group that you're running on the side.
PT and or Z them. So yes. Yeah. So the correct mode is you turn the cameras on automatically. They wake up from standby. They look, but they always do a slow, detailed pan of the room continuously, so you can keep an eye on people.
Lurking on everybody.
What you doing over there? So anyway, yeah. So my systems, we still do the ever popular traditional press here to begin, but like Larry, instead of having no press here to begin, and you select a route and it fires everything. Press here to begin fires most everything, and we by default route the PC because 90+% of the time they're using the frickin' PC. So I'm going to make them go jump through a hoop to change that to something else.
Yep.
So
Teams Room is going to change all that for you.
Teams Rooms can bite me. So.
Wow. Teams Room will fix all this right up for you guys.
When
real
Teams
quick.
can get it shit together on just regular Teams, then we'll talk. But
and then room systems in general change this whole.
I'm sure they will. Yes,
concept.
Then you get 2 touch panels.
I'm going to put a third one in for fun.
This panel controls that panel. That controls that.
No,
the battle days of the AMX panel, the Crestron or the Cisco panel, and then a phone next to it. I love it. So
with my number,
I do not wake
chiseled
up
into the desktop.
With a sticker. Call Mark directly. Here's his cell phone. I do not wake up cameras by default. I want them to select that and enable cameras and It's a cultural thing on our campus. They have to choose to do that. Same with the mics. The mics, everyone is now well trained with, even pre-COVID, but with the COVID response stuff, a red mic means it's muted, a green mic means it's unmuted, whether it's a Shure, a Sennheiser, a Biamp, whatever that type of mic is, they look for that, and they know the mics are muted until they unmute the mics.
That may have been how I actually asked this question. What's your default state on microphones, on or off?
That's where it started, but it went to this larger
because
topic.
It gets crazy real quick.
So I will take some assumptions, and when they wake up the system, I will route the computer, and they can route away from that if they so choose. But like I said, our numbers show way over 90% of people are using the computer. But I do not fire mics or cameras until they make that choice. So that's just our campus culture.
Justin, how are you using those shaved off razor bladed remotes?
We're not going to talk about those because those don't count. But we do have, I guess, 3 different high level experiences that I can talk about. So one is our event spaces. The other ones are classroom learning spaces with touch panels. And of course, our other one, button panels. So button panels, we'll start there. MPC3s mostly, or Kramers or Extrons. We kind of use a bunch of different things. It doesn't matter. One button on, everything kind of turns on. There's not much there for a button panel.
Is it like physically off? Like it's off?
The button panel's always on. There's always a light on.
But like the thing, you referenced a thing, a Kramer, is it off?
The button panel?
No.
Or the other devices?
All the other devices.
Yeah,
so
they're
turns
off.
things on. They're off. Okay.
We're standby, whatever that is. Standby. They have to respond to commands, right? The next layer would be the classroom with touch panel. We have a splash screen. Turn on. Everything turns on. I believe, and I could be wrong about this, our programmer usually has a control for cameras, but they're never really used. So if you hit conferencing and it's Zoom enabled, that's when he turns on the cameras and mics. The conferencing button will bring up all the in-room controls to support that conferencing. But I think in the past, he's also just turned on the mics and cameras when the system turns on, if it's, Zoom enabled. Our next layer, which is really interesting, and this came from a lot of feedback in our event spaces. So we have a splash screen, and our splash screen says, I don't know if the exact verbiage, I can't remember. There's 2 buttons. Press
That's
here
a long
for
word
audio
for splash
only,
screen.
or
that's a lot of language put on there.
I can't remember the exact verbiage, but
still going, huh?
Press here for video and audio,
or
press here for audio only. Because that way, whenever somebody's going in and just want to speak, because they have a guest speaker, but there's no visual contact or content, they can just put on a mic, everything's unmuted, and then you just talk without waiting for the projectors to come on and screens come down, and everybody's like, well, I don't have, and then there's blue screens everywhere. It's like, I don't want these on. I got to turn them all back off. So all of our event spaces have an audio only mode.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why not just have the mics hot
all the time? So when you walk in, the system's off and somebody's talking and you just hear.
Well, most of those mics have a little kill switch on them anyway. Yeah, like why aren't you?
Don't buy that one with the switch.
Well,
no, we don't buy those.
Or like the lavs.
Because Larry, you're right. I was thinking the same thing. The DSP's on, the amplifiers are on.
Yeah.
The microphone, turn on your lav mic or your handheld, and you're hot. So
because there's hardwired mics with auxes, and people could leave mics on and off, and we just mute everything when the system's off.
All right, fair enough.
Okay. Especially combined separate rooms. You don't want
you guys
don't do those.
Don't do those.
Something tells me the WKU campus is actually technically one room. It's just
one giant.
It just keeps dividing itself down.
Just with sound masking curtains.
Get an army of people in there every morning, moving air walls back and forth.
It's more like a temporary Japanese house with those paper walls that you just move around all the time.
Those are nice.
Well, you could use the ones from MIT for that.
Yeah,
that's what I'm saying. It'd be nice, clever. So I don't know. So what I'm hearing is let it burn.
Yes.
Let it all run.
Yes.
And stop turning things on and off because people just want it on anyway.
Anticipate whatever they're going to do and just do
Assume they're going to use the stuff you provided for them to use.
And I believe
Seems
if
right.
you turn it on and off enough, that it actually wears out your equipment faster because of the expansion and cooling of parts.
One could make that argument.
Yeah, right. Maybe not. I've heard that argument before.
I don't buy
You're just lengthening the run to fail thing.
Yeah.
There's a middle ground there somewhere.
Squeezing those years out of it.
All right, we'll be back next week or later. Well, we've managed to ruin yet another episode of AV Super Friends Off the Rails. You can contact us with questions, topic ideas, or general complaints at mailbag@avsuperfriends.com. If you complain loud enough, we might just invite you on the show.
Nice work, everyone. Sharp broadcast. Really good. Everyone on the floor as well. Really a lot of hustle. I liked it.
The opinions expressed by the AV Super Friends are solely those of the individuals and do not represent their respective institutions, organizations, companies, or clients. Have fun editing that one.
Redo it.
This
Start
is
over.
AV Super Friends Off the Rails. What?
Because it wasn't quite recording
Oh my
it.
God, guys.
You said go. I hit go.
I know, I was
you
waiting
went
for it to start.
go. Wait for it.
Yeah, I mean, you know how it is. 1, 2, and then on 4.
Save all that. We'll just leave it in the show. Intro 2. Go. So I was just going to do, we'll just come straight in. We'll talk about this. Then I'll play a commercial. Then we'll do our short thing. Then I'll play her out. And then by then, Daryl will probably be here. And then we'll start the show over in a rubber band mode.
Cool.
We got mystery of everything.
Justin's freaking out.
Don't click whatever you just clicked.
Did you unplug something while we were talking?
I'm going to pause this. Actually, no, I'm going to let it roll because it's going to be sweet.
Just let it roll.
Yeah. This can be like the credit scene at the end.
What did Justin do today?
My whole system blew up. I sound like a robot.
No,
we're not hearing anything from you. So
the quick thing you just did, Chris, like first we're going to do this, we're going to do that, we're going to come back, we're going to do the whole thing in rubber band. I'm going to put that at the end of the show.
Fine by me. Mysteries of Pittsburgh. That's how we do it.
Justin, you're probably going to have to drop off and come back, man. I'll pause this.
There it is. Now I see it going.
Uploading
see
recordings.
Ticking. All right. Okay, I'm going to jump right into segment 1. Where'd my notes go? Where's my notes? I found them. Everyone stop panicking.